I think that 100% of the people on the internet are lying when they try to teach you how to beat or how to get rid of anxiety. Those people go on the internet and then they sell you this fake reality. They sell you this fake dream that you can actually beat or get rid of your anxiety. And I just always find it crazy that people can go on the internet and then try to convince you that you can beat something that you can probably never get rid of. The harsh reality that slapped me on the face a little while ago is that anxiety is something that's always going to be there. Anxiety is never going to go away. It's like a casted shadow behind you that just follows you wherever you go, whatever stage of life you're in. Anxiety is just a shadow that's going to follow you regardless. And just because I'm saying that doesn't mean that anxiety has to be this focal point of your life. I'm not saying that it has to be something that defines you or defines how you move every single day. I'm just saying that it's something that's always going to be there. The same way that sadness is always going to be there, or the same way that happiness is always going to be there. No matter how much you may try to get rid of something, those type of things are just focal points in our lives. And I feel like that's clearly just for a reason that I can't find yet. Because when I think about it, anxiety is one of these things that you can never beat, the same way that sadness is one of these things that you can never beat. But I realize the importance of sadness. Sadness is here so you can recognize those emotions and you can recognize how euphoric it actually feels to be happy. No matter how much it sucks to be sad, I feel like you can never undermine the importance of sadness as an emotion. And if that's the case for something like sadness, that also has to be the case for something like anxiety. And although I do not have the answers for that yet, I feel like eventually we're going to figure that out. But like I said, you can never beat anxiety. Anxiety is one of these focal points of your life that's just going to follow you around. You can't beat it because it's an emotion. Anxiety is a feeling. It's an emotion that is completely unpredictable, that only comes with the stress of life and humanity. You cannot control your emotions the same way that you cannot control how unpredictable and how stressful life can be. The only constants in this is the fact that emotions exist and that life is going to be stressful. And if those two things exist as a constant, that must mean in correlation, anxiety has to live as a constant as well. But like I said, this video is not to tell you to make anxiety the focal point of your life. That's not me saying that anxiety is going to be something that you're going to struggle with every single night, something that keeps you up every night, something that dictates every decision you make. I'm simply saying that anxiety is going to be there. And although I feel like it's undeniable that you can never get rid of or beat anxiety, I do know that you can evade it. You can definitely minimize the impact that anxiety has on your life. And I know this firsthand because I've applied a bunch of these things to my own life, and I can definitely notice that my anxiety is not as dominant or as prominent as it was in the past. The most important thing that I feel like we can do to minimize your anxiety is to actually dictate where your anxiety comes from. For example, with myself, every single time my anxiety reached its peak, it was when I was thinking heavily about the future. Specifically for me in college, when I was looking at my 4-year plan, when I had to visually see all the classes that I was going to be taking for the next 4 years, my mind brought me to a point where it was like, if I can't do this, then I'm not going to get the job that I want. If I can't do this, then I can't do the things that I want in my life. If I fail one class, I'm finished. And then eventually I had to realize that my anxiety was strictly based off of hypotheticals. What if I don't do this? Or what if this happens? Or what if something goes wrong here? All of the anxiety that I had was built up strictly from the hypotheticals that I created in my mind. So the first thing that I did to minimize this was just realize that I had to take things day by day. Stop thinking so heavily about the future and all the what ifs and all the hypotheticals and control what I can today. If I can do something right now, today, to make my life a little bit better, that's what I need to focus on. I need to stop focusing and worrying about what's going to happen in the future, because at the end of the day, those things are uncontrollable because those are based strictly off of hypotheticals. The only thing that you can control is right now. The only thing that you can control is what you do in this very moment. You just need to control something that you can control. And if you can't control it, then don't try. Because why would you focus on something that you have no say in? You cannot do a single thing about it. The only thing you can do is control what you can. So every single time you get to that point where you're overthinking and getting anxious about the future, just take a few deep breaths, calm down, and recognize this is not the reality that I'm going to be living. This is just based purely off of the hypotheticals and the what ifs that I'm creating in my head. I promise you it's going to bring you so much more ease when you take things day by day and focus on all the things that you can in your day. Because then subconsciously you're somewhat building up that mentality that if something is going to go wrong, it's not going to be because of what I did today. Because I did my very best today. I tried my absolute hardest. If something goes wrong, it's something that's not in my control. If that doesn't bring you a sense of comfort, I don't know what will. Similar to that, I feel like we all need to focus on the little accomplishments and the little achievements that we get every single day. Because we're so ambition driven and we're so just ambition focused that we forget all the great things that we do every single day. Unfortunately, a lot of our anxiety is coming from not giving ourselves flowers. Like, for example, I would always find myself saying I didn't do enough today. And in that same day, I worked on school, I went to the gym, I worked on my YouTube channel, I did a bunch of stuff in that day, but it just wasn't enough for some reason. So if you look at those little wins that you have, those eventually add up. And once you focus on those little accomplishments that you have, you're going to bring yourself a lot more peace. And this part will probably resonate with about half of you, but I feel like leaning into God and recognizing that anxiety is not from God is going to bring you a lot of peace and comfort. Because this is definitely one of the main things that have helped me, just realizing that God did not make me to feel anxious in this moment. Anxiety is simply just a result of not putting all of your faith in God. So for anybody who feels like they're looking for a sign to get closer to God, I promise you that this is your sign. God is looking for you to put all of your faith in Him. He can only minimize your anxiety if you put your faith in Him and you recognize all of the good things that He's done for you, all of the blessings that you've received. Like I said, anxiety is something that we're going to be dealing with for the rest of our lives. It's definitely no joke. So just control what you can, and where you cannot control, don't try. I know that eventually everybody's going to figure it out, and I cannot wait for every single one of you to do that. Thank you guys for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.